You put in $500. Then you do the single hardest thing in all of investing, nothing. You leave it alone through every crash, every temptation, every reasonable excuse to stop for 50 years. And somewhere inside those 50 years, there is one quiet moment that separates the people who build real wealth from the people who never do. It has nothing to do with how much you earn. Almost nobody notices the moment it happens. You will. Here is exactly what happens to the money and to you. Month 1, your account shows $500 and a few cents of interest. That is it. No confetti, no headline, nothing worth screenshotting, just a number barely larger than the one you started with. And this is the first test, because boring is precisely where almost everyone quits. It does not feel like a future fortune. It feels like a rounding error. And the quiet voice in your head says, the sensible-sounding thing everyone says, wait until you have more money to invest properly, until the timing is better, until you can do it seriously. You ignore that voice. The timing is never better. The best day was always today, even at $500. But you don't quit. Every month you add another $500 and then you walk away. You don't check it at midnight. You don't move it around every time a headline spooks you. You are betting on one thing and one thing only. The market's long-run average, call it about 10% a year, and you know that average only ever shows up for the people who stay in their seat long enough to collect it. Year 1 ends. You have put in $6,000 and the account holds just a little more, barely worth mentioning. Your friend, who started the exact same week, has already rebuilt his whole strategy 3 times. A hot stock, then crypto, then something a stranger online swore couldn't miss. He is always about to get serious. He never quite does. He gets the stories and the screenshots. You get a slow, quiet number and a lot of silence, and you have to make peace with that silence, because it is going to last a long time before it ever pays you back. Then, in year 3, the market falls apart. Not a dip, a proper crash. The news calls it a bloodbath. Your account drops by a third in a matter of weeks, and for the first time the number runs backwards faster than you can feed it. Everyone you know is selling. This is fear, pure and simple, the kind that makes your hands want to do something, anything. But you do the strange thing. You keep buying. The same 500 right on schedule while everything is on sale and everyone is terrified. It does not feel smart. It feels like standing perfectly still in the middle of a stampede. The market heals, the way it always eventually has, and you cross into year 7, and now it is life, not the market that comes for your plan. A job ends, a car dies, a baby arrives, or a roof does. Suddenly that $500 a month is money you could really use right now, and the account just sits there, full and untouched, quietly daring you to borrow from it. But you find the $500 somewhere else, and you keep the streak alive, because you have done the math on what just pausing for a while actually costs. Money you skip in year 7 is not $500. It is the several thousand it would have become, deleted from a future you cannot see yet. So you cut something else instead, a trip you skip, a want you postpone one more year. And nobody claps for it. Nobody ever sees the vacation you didn't take or the upgrade you passed on. That is the strange loneliness of building slowly. The sacrifice is real and constant and completely invisible to everyone but you. You make it anyway, one unremarkable month at a time. Year 10, the account crosses $100,000. And right about now, people start to call you boring. A relative jokes that you are cheap, that you never treat yourself. A coworker leases a gleaming new car and parks it where everyone can admire it. And for a moment, your quiet, invisible account feels like the foolish choice and his shining car feels like the smart one. But you say nothing, and you add your 500. The car will be worth half as much in 3 years. The 100,000 will still be compounding in 30. You are not being cheap. You are being early, and early always looks a little foolish until it doesn't. Year 15, another crash, and here is how you know you have changed. You barely feel it. You have seen this movie twice now. You know how it ends. You add your 500 and close the app before the panic can reach you. The thing that terrified you in year 3 is background noise by year 15. You didn't get braver. You just got proof. Year 20. The account holds around $380,000. And this right here is the quiet moment I promised you at the very start. Because in a good month now, the account grows by more than you put into it. Read that again. Your money is earning more than you are adding. That is the crossover. It is the exact line where your wealth stops depending mainly on you and starts depending mainly on time. Almost no one reaches it because almost no one stays long enough, and the few who do rarely notice the month it happens. But everything after this line is different. Before it, you are pushing the boulder up the hill. After it, the boulder rolls on its own. And this is where the story stops being about money at all. Look back over those 20 years. The wealth is not the impressive part. The impressive part is who you had to become to earn it. The person who stayed calm while everyone panicked, patient while everyone chased, and did nothing on purpose through 2 crashes and 100 temptations. That steadiness is the real asset. The balance is only its shadow. Year 30. You cross $1 million. Quietly, there is no single day it arrives, and nobody throws a party, because nobody watched it happen. You put in $180,000 over 3 decades. Time handed you the other $950,000 money you never earned at any job that grew while you slept and worked and lived an entirely ordinary life on top of it. But here is the part almost no one is patient enough to reach. The curve is bending upward now. Compound growth never moves in a straight line. It stays nearly flat for years, and then it turns almost vertical, and the steepest part is always saved for the end. The slow decades are simply the price of admission to the fast ones. Year 40, around $3 million. A single average year now adds more to your account than you once earned in your best year of work. Not because you took a wild risk, because you took the exact opposite, the boring road, and never once stepped off it. Somewhere around here, your friend resurfaces, the one who was always about to get serious. He asks, half joking, what your secret was. He wants a tip, a stock, a coin, one clever move he can make this week. And when you tell him the plain truth, $500 a month, low-cost index funds, 40 years, and the discipline to never once flinch, you watch his face fall. It is too simple. It is too slow. He wanted a shortcut, and you have handed him a lifetime. He nods, says, "Makes sense," and quietly goes back to looking for the fast way. Most people do. That is exactly why the slow way stays wide open for anyone willing to walk it. And then the final 10 years arrive, the years that do the heaviest lifting of all, the stretch the impatient never see, because they cashed out decades ago, certain it would never really work. Year 50. The account holds roughly $8.5 million. Sit with that. You contributed $300,000 across half a century, so thinly spread you barely felt it leave. Everything else, more than $8 million, was built by time alone, and most of it appeared in just the final stretch, grown from the forgettable 500s you set aside in your 20s and nearly forgot you owned. Now, one honest number, because you have earned the truth. That $8.5 million uses the market's long-run average about 10%, and it is not adjusted for inflation. In today's money, it feels closer to $2 million than $8 million, but sit with that too. $2 million in real purchasing power, from $500 a month and the refusal to panic. And it never arrived in a straight line. Some of those 50 years fell hard, and you had to hold through every single one of them. That was the whole test. Not intelligence, not a big salary. Patience, the almost unbearable willingness to plant something and then let it grow without digging it up every season to check the roots. Everyone wanted the $8 million. Almost no one wanted the 50 quiet years it was hiding inside. You did, and the tree you were never supposed to sit under, the one you watered for decades with no proof it would ever shade you. You are sitting under it now,